This may be the most awkwardly framed attempt at shooting a video here that I've ever done, but I'm finally going to talk about my new chair that I've actually received a surprising amount of questions about on my live streams, on my YouTube stories, on Twitter, and kind of recap the chair struggles I've had and why this might be my, next chair for the next few years, like the one I'm sitting on now has been since 2016. After a word from this video's sponsor. I'm EvilsVox and welcome back to Gearhead, the review show where I review all of the gear that I'm so addicted to collecting so that you don't have to waste your precious dollars. Only I do. I'm still working on the pitch for this. This is, next to me here, not what I'm sitting in, the Autonomous, and actually I have some room in the frame here. I'm still trying to figure this out. This is the Autonomous ErgoChair 2, specifically the A76 model, and I have it in the baby blue color, which affects the seat that you actually sit on, which is down off camera here, because that would be really weird to have you staring at my crotch the whole video. This is a chair that costs about $379 MSRP and is a bit of an upgrade from the chair that I've been recommending. But if you recall, or if you were new here, I spent a little while trying to find a new chair for my day-to-day workflow. I've been using the chair I'm sitting in now, which is the Alera Elusion, which doesn't seem to be a major brand, but is a chair that I picked up off Amazon in January 2016 for about $125 and was a serious investment for me at the time. I'd only been using the cheap like $60 stapled chairs and they were killing my back. I actually put a lot of effort and work into during that year of 2016 to changing my posture and making sure that I sit in chairs properly, and this chair did the job for me, and I owe a lot of my current health, especially given that I transitioned to being a full-time YouTuber and spend most of my time sitting at my desk. I would be in a lot worse shape if not for a chair like this, because it forced me to pretty much only sit in one position while I'm working and really kind of master what ergonomics are good for me and has the exact back support and things like that that I need. It's a mesh back, but it has the right amount of lower back lumbar support that I want. The armrest, the elbow pads are super soft and have a lot of give, and the cushion is still kicking this many years later and does not seem to be stopping anytime soon. And it stood up to the test of time of abuse of multiple cats, as one of the cats constantly gets his claws stuck in the little armrests, and that doesn't seem to be a problem, and they've slept in the chair and got their claws stuck in the mesh, and it's never been an issue. But I wanted, what the next step was. I was getting to the point where the mesh is loosening up after a few years. It's still a great chair and is gonna stay up here for me, but I was getting to the point where, I wanted to see what else was out there. And I started looking into gaming chairs just out of curiosity. Everyone said they were bad, but then a lot of people said, okay, they're better for larger people, and I wanted to try it out for myself. And due to the way that they were shaped and the way that the neck pillows worked and trying them out, I reviewed 3 at once and wound up causing myself some serious neck pain from trying to use the neck pillows and things like that. And that was a disaster. And I still have one of the gaming chairs actually sitting in front of me that was supposed to be for my gaming room, but it's a little too tall for this purpose. Well, after having seen that video or recommending it to someone else, a subscriber by the name of Masashiro, I'm trying to say that right, I don't know if I did, on Twitter actually ended up tagging Autonomous, and I thought I had reached out to them before, but this was a case of the right place, right time situation, and they're essentially responsible for getting Autonomous to send one of these out for me for review. So super shout out to them, thank you very much. And this might be my next chair. So as I mentioned, this is priced about double the cost of the Alera Elusion chair that I have now. It's about $379, and I don't know that you're getting that much more value. If you're looking for the best bang for your buck, I definitely recommend this one. I will have links to it on Amazon in the description below. I don't know that you're getting, double the performance, although for a lot of people that you are, but for my needs, I don't know that you're getting, double the chair out of it for the cost. And Autonomous does have cheaper options, which seem great and seem to compete with this one closer to the same price. But this is their kind of Mac Daddy of ergonomic chair form factors, because this chair does everything. Building it was pretty straightforward. Again, I worked for Staples Easy Tech for a couple years and built a bajillion chairs in my lifetime, so I don't even really read the manuals for these for the most part anymore. Build quality is really impressive actually, and something to note here is that this thing is really freaking heavy. Carrying it upstairs, I've brought all of my chairs up here for all of my reviews, and even the big heavy gaming chairs, like this may be the heaviest one I've brought up here. So that was unexpected, but the entire back piece that is down here is like one solid heavy piece. And you have so much customization and so much to adjust on this chair, and it's really awkward to keep in frame at the same time because you have like 8 different settings, I think it is, for this chair. On top of the arm pads, of course, move front, back, side, up and down. You've got this headrest which tilts forward and moves up and down. You've got a lumbar pillow along with the mesh that you can change the position of. I do wish that went a little higher, as I would like it ever so slightly higher, and I'm at the height of as far up as it can go, but it's fine for the most part and supports me exactly where I want. That's customizable. You can customize the lock of the back of it, so you set using the under bars, like with most chairs, you set like what position the back of the chair is, but then you have another lever to adjust basically how much freedom you have in that, and then you have a adjustment wheel for how much like suspension or tension it has up against you changing it. You can adjust the angle of the seat. You can adjust the position of the seat. You have customization over pretty much every aspect of this chair, and it's designed in a sense that you can shift positions mid-use. And this is where it gets a little complicated for my needs, because I am used to, at least, a chair like this, where I pretty much only sit one way. I have the seat locked in one position, it doesn't budge. I sit completely straight up and down, back supported, arms at my side, working. And I don't I can sort of lean back or kick back in it, but I don't really use a whole lot of different positions. Whereas this one's kind of designed for you to have that perfectly ergonomic working position, but then also, when you're playing video games, and I have finally started trying to use this a couple times, you can, pull a couple levers and kick the seat back, lay your head back on the pillow and make the seat actually lean forward so your legs are more comfortable. Because that's a big issue with office chairs when you're trying to like lean back or anything, is you have this big beefy pillow like cutting your legs off, and you can have this like tilt downwards. So you can just completely lean back and play games and then sit there. You have a bunch of different positions you can cycle through. I will say the manual is your friend. There is a lot you can glean from this manual. In fact, I still have it on hand because I reference it just specifically for the different positions so much. But there is a lot you can adjust. You've got seat tilt, back tilt tension, height, angle of the back of the chair, the lock and unlock of this, as well as forward and backwards momentum of the cushion, and then again, up, down, left, right, side to side, forward, backwards, whatever, of the actual armrests themselves. So that's one of the biggest good things about this, is you can customize everything. Theoretically, everybody who doesn't want like a gaming chair in terms of it like being encompassed around you, pretty much everybody's going to find some way that they can sit that is super comfortable and healthy in this chair, which is really cool. I appreciate that it's a mesh back. This keeps you from getting overheated and supports you in a little bit more of a comfortable way, but the pillow actually backs that up where I need it personally, because the way I like slouch over, I need that little like pressure at my lower back, so this is perfect for me personally. The wheels are really nice. One of the gaming chairs I had these really big, nice caster wheels, and those were still my favorite of all the ones I've tested. But these roll super smooth on my carpet, on my completely crumbling and now duct taped together desk mat. The wheels are really nice, and I can tell that the cushion isn't going anywhere anytime soon. It is super firm. It is not going to like flatten or anything, which is what I kept doing to those Staples chairs and like had my tailbone sitting on the plywood. That's not going away anytime soon. But getting into the bad sides of it, that's also kind of a con, because this Alera Elusion chair I have, which again I've sat on for 3 years now, is still super soft while also being firm enough to not flatten, and it's a little bit nicer on my butt. Like, if I'm sitting for 18 hours a day, I don't get butt fatigue, as I'm calling it, in this chair, whereas I do still get a little bit of it in this chair. Now, theoretically, that shouldn't be a problem, because you shouldn't be sitting that long. If you're sitting that long and you're getting butt fatigue, you should be up and moving around anyway, and I need to develop healthier habits regarding that. But the seat very much reminds me of the seat I have in my car, where for the first hour or so, it is way more comfortable than any car I've ever sat in. But after a few hours, I still get sore and, uncomfortable and don't want to sit on it anymore. And it's not quite as bad as this, on this chair as it is in my car by any stretch, but it is something I wasn't entirely expecting. And then the same thing with the armrest, the elbow pads. There is no give to these elbow pads. I know you can't really see them, but there's no give to these elbow pads whatsoever. There's a little bit. But compared to these, which are like soft, rubbery foam, which have survived cat claws for 3 years, like I can see these are probably gonna last longer. These are much harder, more rigid. They're probably going to last longer, but the first week or so using this chair, I had the same thing I complained about with the gaming chairs, where my elbows were like completely pink and red and felt like they were bruised when I was like really leaning into it while gaming. And it took me a little while to get used to it. I did get used to it, whereas I did not with some of those gaming chairs. It felt like I was on a rock and could never get used to it. So there's enough give for it to not stay a problem, but it is really bizarre to me that I can get a $120 chair that has these things that are like so perfect that I'm not seeing on more expensive chairs. And it could be that this is actually cheaper material. Again, it could crumble in the future. You know, this kind of rubbery material isn't gonna last a super long time, you know, beyond the, I've had it for 3 years, but you know, start looking outward towards 10 years, or if it was in a public space like an office where it's used by multiple people or something, it would probably degrade more over time. I take really, really good care of my stuff. And it also could be that this is just fine, you know, this chair is more happened to be fine-tuned towards my specific needs, and I just happened to find like a hidden gem of what exactly met what I wanted. But it is kind of interesting. I expect everything to be like perfect and comfy as hell on these more expensive chairs, and that was a little disappointing, but I'm glad I stuck through it because again, I am used to it now. I don't really have that sort of, you know, bruised feeling when I sit on it. I still miss these when I put my elbow on, the really soft ones, but it's fine. I already complained about the lumbar pillow not going up quite as high as I would have wanted. I would have loved to just see like a straight up bar going from where it is now up into the back and just letting you put the pillow wherever the hell you wanted, but I can see why they maybe didn't do that. And then there is not a whole lot of, so I described that this seat is made to like kind of customize to every way that you want to sit and things like that, but that also means that it doesn't firmly lock into one place. And I was kind of expecting that given that I'm used to a chair where I can only sit in one way. And I was kind of disappointed at first when I was sitting in this chair because I got it all locked up in exactly where I wanted it, and then I was still able to kind of lean it back and stuff. And I'm still able to do that in this chair, so that wasn't a realistic expectation. But due to the way that I had to like brute force myself into adapting or adopting like better posture, I was expecting to like be forced, you know, to be able to force myself to sit a certain way. But that's not even necessarily entirely healthy either. Like you're gonna naturally lean in and out of it a little bit. And so there's a little bit of give even with everything locked up. But that's how it should be. So Gearhead review, is this chair worth $379? Would I pay $379 for it? Given that at one point I was genuinely considering, before a bunch of other expenses came up, dropping like 400 bones on a racing style gaming chair because I thought it would be fine before I reviewed them and all of that, I would say yes. Like I was at that point where I really wanted something a little bigger, a little more, you know, suited for like a tall person, because this is a mid-back chair, so I don't have any lean back capability. I feel like I'm getting that much value out of it overall once you start to consider that once you get past 150 to 200 bucks, there is always diminishing returns, because something like this would probably last me another 3 or 4 years before it really became a problem, assuming my cats didn't just like really attack it. And if I didn't have anything else that I wanted out of it, like it would be fine and as half the price. But once you want, you know, something a little bit more, especially if you're someone like me or a streamer who spends 12 hours a day at minimum in their chair doing the streaming and stuff, you want something like this. And especially if you're streaming, especially if you're in a place where you can't just like get up and leave at random. Like I spend a lot of my time while I'm working, I'll get up and go do a couple dishes and things like that. If you're streaming and you need to be performing all the time, then you kind of want something like this that gives you still the complete ergonomics, the sitting in the proper posture, but also lets you change positions and, you know, transform it into something where you can lean back for a little bit and relax while you're playing a game and things like that. So I think, you know, keeping in mind that there are cheaper options even from Autonomous or this one that you can get if you're really trying to squeeze your money, I do think that for the bigger picture, you know, the higher end stuff, this is probably the way to go. Don't buy a gaming chair. Buy the ErgoChair too, is what I'm getting at here. And I'm pretty excited to keep using it. I honestly didn't expect, I have low expectations for chairs at this point, because I had fairly high expectations for the gaming chair stuff, just because I wanted to be that guy that like found the right way to use them and everyone else is using them wrong or something like that. But I ended up literally hurting myself trying to use them, and I didn't have high expectations for this, and I think it's gonna stay in my main chair in the office for now, especially since this chair does drop low enough I can use it for my retro streaming setup that I've yet to stream with here, and so I'm gonna keep it up here. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool. Links to it will be, I don't think it'll be affiliate link because I don't think they have it other than on their website, but will be in the description down below. As always, hit the like button if you enjoyed this review. Come support us over on Floatplane if you want to get early access to videos like this one, behind the scenes content. We've been doing some subs only Discord live streams with that new feature, which I have a whole video on coming soon, and some really cool stuff like that.